Hi everybody, I'm Ray Lucina. I'm going to be your prof this semester for children's literature. I just want to give you a really quick overview of the course environment. You want to get comfortable with this space very quickly, very early on, because as we work through the course, your focus should be on what we're reading and your responses to what we're reading rather than on finding stuff in the course site. So this announcements page, this news page, is especially important because this is where I'll post any updates or changes to the course. Or as I open up work, and I'll talk about that in just a second, I'll let you know when things come available. You should be checking into the course ideally every day, probably no less frequently than every other day, to make sure there have been no changes to deadlines or updates. You may not have to do a lot of work in the course. A lot of our work will be done offline as you're doing the reading and making your notes, but still you need to check in to make sure you know what's going on. Just a word of warning, and as we get to the syllabus, you'll see this again. I do have an attendance policy for the course. You need to be logging in and doing work every single week. If you've disappeared for more than 2 weeks from the discussion forums, or if you've not done the work that's assigned for more than 2 weeks, I count that as absent, and I reserve the right to drop you from the course. And if you've been absent without contacting me, I pretty much will drop you from the course. This is important because some people sometimes they believe if they've logged on that counts as their attendance. Logging on does not count. You've got to be doing the work. If you have trouble some week completing something, you fall behind, drop me an email. I'm not a completely unreasonable person. I'll try to work with you. If you've been consistent with your work and 1 week something comes up in your family, your work, you just can't get it together, we'll work out something. I'll give you an extra day or so. But if you just disappear, you will wind up getting dropped from the course. And I've got to do this for financial aid purposes alone, as well as the other reasons one would want to drop a student who's not engaging in the class. I've clicked on the content button at the top of the nav bar. I want you to live in the content area of the course. This is really where you should access all of the resources in the course. You can go to other areas of the course by clicking on these tabs up here, and you will have to look at your grades in the grades area of the course. But for the most part, you should stay in the content area. The reason why, I've taught this course for a number of semesters. Each semester I tweak it a little bit, but I also import past semesters. So I've updated the course quite a bit. I added a new novel last winter, and so this run of the course I've imported all of that stuff. What I'm doing is working through changing the dates, updating the content to make sure things are where I want them to be as we move along. What that means is I'll have the current novel typically ready to go and updated. So in a day or two, I'll open up next week's work and the week's work for the week after that, which will get us through The Hobbit. And all the dates for there will be hopefully correct, unless I've slipped up on them. So what you have here will be updated. If you start clicking through, for example, the other discussions in the discussion area, those won't have been updated yet. So if you try to work ahead, they might change. So you'll do a question, then I'll revise it, and it'll be something else. I don't always change things, and they might all be fine as they are, but I may change them. So get at things through the content area of the course. That is the moral of that story. The content area is arranged in modules. So this left menu will take you through various modules. The very first module, chunk of stuff in the course, are a series of documents. You need to read the first two right away. The rest I'll refer to as you need them throughout the course. I've uploaded them here in this general resources module because once they're introduced, you'll need to refer back to them so they're all in one place, rather than only including them in the weekly modules where I introduce them. So for now, read the syllabus and read the student rights and responsibilities. A few really quick notes on the syllabus, and I apologize, my laptop's wobbling a little bit. There's not an earthquake here in Midland. A few quick notes on the syllabus. First of all, the introduction, all of this stuff on outcomes and objectives, grading for the course. This is all very important to get a sense of right up front. The introduction will lay out kind of how the course functions, and as well as some warnings about online courses. The grading is important because it outlines the percentage of the grade, how many points or what part of the grade each activity we engage in fulfills. So be conscious of that as well. My expectations for the course are outlined here. Some general advice on learning online, again, important course policies all outlined here. The text we're going to read, you need not buy all of these right off the bat. We're going to begin with the Read Aloud Handbook you need right away, and that'll be our course text throughout. And then these texts you'll see on the syllabus when we're going to be reading them. We start with The Hobbit, so you can get away with just buying The Hobbit for now, for the first couple of weeks, and then buy the books as they come along. That might ease your budget a little bit. Although, to be honest, this collection of books costs less than most chemistry textbooks. So you're going to get a shelf full of books for the same price as one chemistry text. So feel happy about that. The outline of activities is very general. It's basically got your reading on a week-by-week basis. So look at that, including reading in the Read Aloud Handbook. We're also doing picture book reports. We're going to be exploring picture book literature, but I can't really pick up a picture book and talk through it online. Even with this sort of video, you can't really interact the way I would like you to. I may post a couple of books on, a couple of videos on picture books as we go along. But the way I've decided to work the picture book activity is to make that something you use as an exploratory exercise on your own. So every week, once we get going, I will assign a number of picture book authors. Okay? And we'll have a picture book theme for that week. Now here's an important warning, and I'll post a note when you start your first picture book report as well. These authors we're exploring have written all kinds of books. Okay? You need to make sure the book you choose from that author to write about, to summarize, to discuss, is the right kind of book. So for example, if we're talking about adaptations of folk literature, Mercer Mayer has written those little critter books, which are incredibly popular. Those are not folk literature. He has written adaptations of folk literature. So if we're talking about Mercer Mayer in that category, I'm actually blanking on where he falls on the syllabus. But at any rate, if we're talking about him specifically as an example, make sure you choose the appropriate type of book. If you don't have a lot of picture books at home, and I assume that you probably are not going to have all the books you need at home, you can access a local library. Midland, Saginaw both have pretty good children's book collections. If you get out to Delta Campus sometimes, all the representative books you need will be available at Delta Campus. One reason I've kept my picture book syllabus pretty consistent over the years is that we have a body of children's books that reflect the syllabus sitting in the Delta College Library. So again, you can access them there as well. More on those as we move along. Okay, so that's course resources. Last thing I want to talk about is what these weekly modules will look out with an important heads up on the checklist. First of all, you will see links to videos, other resources here in these modules. You will see the discussion forums linked to in these modules. This is the introduction forum with all the details there. The other thing you're going to see is the weekly checklist. As you can see here, the weekly checklist shows you nothing in this initial screen. You have to click on it. And once you click on it, you will then see an outline of the different things that we're going to be doing this week with the due dates. And this is where all the due dates for the course are going to be. So once I've opened up additional modules, here we will have the week 2 and week 3 modules coming on soon with the readings and the work for The Hobbit. Once that's up there, then you'll be able to click on their respective checklists to see what is going to be due when those weeks. This first week I give you till Sunday for all your posts while you get used to the course. Typically, there'll be a first substantive post due by Thursday. Substantive, I hate to do this by word count, but you're looking at maybe 500, 600 words at least for a really thoughtful response to these questions. And then substantive responses. In other words, not just, yeah, I like that too, or yeah, this was hard too, or great post. I really want you to think and respond to your classmates' post. So ask a question, add to something they've said, connect something they've said to something you saw when you read the book. I would say a really good response post should be maybe I don't want to say 100 words because that might be long, but they could easily be 100 words. But at least you're shooting at 50, 60 words probably for a really thoughtful response. The discussions are really the heart of this course, and they're a very significant part of the grade for this course. So they've got to be solid, and that is very important. One last area you may want to visit. I've warned you against this going randomly to the discussions area of the course, but there is one discussion forum you want to visit here, and that is the help forum. If you log in here and you have any questions or concerns, this is a place to post it, and I will respond to it there. I tend to check into the course at least every day or every other day. I try to check every day. Every once in a while I'll have a day that goes completely crazy and I won't get back in. So if you have a very urgent question, drop me an email, and then I can also post an update to the rest of the class. The help forum is primarily for questions about deadlines, descriptions of stuff that isn't clear, or even if you've got a question about something we're reading, you can post there. If you've got specific questions about your grade, then for sure email me individually. That shouldn't really be a public conversation, so drop me a line if you have questions about a grade. That's everything for now. I want to keep this relatively short. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, email me. Drop by my office. This is not my office. I'm at home right now. I do not have this gnarly Pakistani woodwork screen in my office. I have more of a Star Wars motif going there. Or call me, or of course email me. These courses are challenging, but I'm here to support you throughout. So any issues you have, just get a hold of me. And I'm going to end it there so I can get this uploaded for you. So you have a great first week. I look forward to reading your introductions. And I said it a dozen times already in this video. I'll say it again. Come to me if you've got questions or concerns.